Hello, we're here to talk just for a moment about mindset, which is important because we can't control the things that are going on around us. Certainly, the last couple of years have taught most of us that in such a real way. But as we transition into what looks to be more normal, it's easy to forget that and to get this outward orientation going again where I have to control everything around me in order to feel okay. That's just when we focus on exclusively trying to sort out the circumstances of our life in order to feel okay, a couple of things can happen. One being that we can't do that successfully a lot of the time, so it leaves us in prolonged states of distress. The second thing that can happen is that as our life is in upheaval or less than ideal circumstances, it can shift the way we see neutral or just interact with our day-to-day. So we end up in a place where the stress of our life has made us actually now start to experience life as more stressful. And so starting to recognize that not only does our brain select things for us to pay attention to, it selects a way or a style of interpreting the things that we go through that can be neutral, it can be positive, or it can be a more painful, disruptive way of interpreting it. So we don't just let our things unfold. Suddenly we are thinking about those things in a way that reflect the stress that we're under and can amplify the stress itself. So it's a really self-fulfilling cycle that builds up on top of the pain that is unavoidable in anybody's life. So mindset becomes about slowly allowing an awareness of how am I interacting with that? How am I interpreting that thing that has occurred now? And what other ways are there to reflect it or to interpret it? Is it an overly negative? What evidence do I have? Is it an overly positive? That's not necessarily helpful either. And what am I looking for? What kind of mindset am I bringing into experiences outside of maybe something that's more distressing? So if I, as an example, am in a place where I feel very powerless in my life, and it's reflected in the fact that I think a lot about the things in my life that are powerless, reinforcing a feeling of powerless, and now I go into something neutral. I, go to run an errand. And in my mind, I might find that I start looking for and selecting places where things are failing to meet my expectations, where I'm powerless to affect the change I want. I'm focused on what they don't have at the grocery store, of the detour in the traffic, of the person who's been negative towards me. And it's not that we should be ignoring that all of those things happen. It's just with our mind, as we start to become perhaps overly focused on it, it amplifies their effect on it. So it amplifies the negative effect on us of things that are unavoidable, like disruption and unmet expectations. So one of the things I'm working with a lot recently, as there's a lot of upheaval going on around me and in my own life, and a lot of really unkind things happening and things that are really uncomfortable, is kind of coming back to this source of kindness and love, because really that's what matters at the end of it. And so choosing to look for places that may seem insignificant, but where kindness has been exhibited, where loving experiences can be had, where I can almost go into a day anticipating that. Anything so simple as a kindness from a stranger can fulfill and kind of help me recognize that in the distress of everything going on, there are still these glimmers. Now, these glimmers don't negate what's happening. What the glimmers do is help what's happening not shift me into a toxic mindset about my own life or about myself and my loved ones. So taking some steps to first kind of pay attention to how we're thinking, asking myself, wait a minute, what am I layering onto this? And is there a neutral or a different way to see that? What are the evidence? Those are kind of some self-reflective questions that can help bring up to your awareness your mindset, and these mindset shifts can help us weather storms in our lives with just a little bit more ease. So hope you find that helpful, and as always with everything that we share it with love and only love.